Hello everyone, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me. I have a reaction video today looking at some things that you have tagged me on over on TikTok, Instagram, sent me my messages. Find all my socials here to tag me. You can also follow me on my new reaction channel where it's not just beauty related content, it's other stuff too. And as I always like to say in these videos, creativity and individuality have no rules, but makeup most definitely has a theory. Let's take a look at what we have today. She's like, get off me. I can't tell if that's real or not. That can't be real. Listen, it is a struggle to get lashes on someone, absolutely. Oh, my eyes hurt from watching that. It can be a bit of a struggle to get false lashes on people. And you know what? It's kind of a good idea to sometimes walk around your client and see what angle is better, but holding their eye open. Holding their eye open and leaning on them and pulling their head back and then blowing in their eyes. I think they were trying to like dry the glue a little bit or something. Isn't the best process at all. The best way is to get your client to put their chin up, to look down, and then you drop the lash on their natural lashes, middle, outside corner, inside corner, and then you're done. To be fair, they did get really close to the lash line. Vaseline or like petroleum jelly in any form isn't a good idea to put under makeup at all. It's not a good primer, it's not a good moisturizer, it's not anything like that. You want your makeup, oh my god, what the fuck is happening? You want your makeup to sit on the skin. It needs to sit on the skin. Vaseline isn't absorbed into your skin like skincare. It kind of just sits on top. I need to take my lashes off. It's so uncomfortable. What's going on? I need to take it off. Oh my god. Oh my god, I need to do them both. Oh my god, that was painful. Your makeup needs to sit on have direct contact with your skin. It can't sit on top of Vaseline. It's gonna have a weird texture. It's not gonna be good at all. That's that. The red under the eye, you can absolutely use lipstick, red lipstick if you wanted to, orange lipstick under the eye to color correct. Absolutely fine. However, that much is not necessary, especially when it comes down to where the dark circles aren't even there. The dark circles doesn't come down here on this individual. You need to tap that product a tiny bit into the precise areas you want to cover. It gives you less to do in terms of covering it up with foundation and things like that. It's too much. I think we're over this, like, you need all this color corrector phase. You really don't need to do that. It's not a good hack.
Hi, my name is Bennett, and this is exactly why influencer style makeup doesn't work. Using a really light concealer like this looks absolutely ridiculous in person, much less imagine taking a picture with a flash. Whereas using something with a more peach or orange undertone will color correct your dark circles as well as give you that skin-like appearance. Applying foundation like this onto our face is not only unsanitary, but it's also so wasteful. If I'm not using my concealer as foundation, I'm applying it to the back of my hands, and then taking a brush and lightly stippling this in. Comparing the two sides, look how even my complexion looks on this side, whereas this side looks really light and really textured. Next is applying cream bronzer under powder. I've never understood this. If you're dry, go with cream. If you're oily, go with powder. Also applying this on top of our cheekbone. I know this supposedly lifts your face, but if you're applying bronzer and blush and highlighter all in the same area, what's the point? Instead, I love taking a fan brush and applying my bronzer in circular motions, as well as following my natural shadow and contouring under my cheekbone. This one's always been so strange to me, but contouring our nose and then not bringing this into our eyelid. Instead, I love taking a powder bronzer on a fan brush and just following my natural shadow. If you're new here, this is something I've trademarked, but contouring above your cheekbone will give you that natural lift. Again, comparing the two sides, this side shows so much texture and harsh lines, whereas this side shows so much of an even blurred and lifted complexion. Same thing with these cream blushes. If you're applying this on top of your bronzer, what's the point? And then after setting this with a powder blush, you can definitely just choose one depending on your skin type. So taking this Too Faced blush, I love starting this at the outer corner of my under eye and then pulling up right under that line of contour to really lift my face. And then if I really want that sunburn look, I'll even take a tiny bit and just apply it right above my brow bone. And my reasoning behind this is just as my cheekbone is a high point, so is my brow bone. Symmetry is beauty, so if you can balance the high and low points of your face, it's bound to look good. Focusing on the blush above the brow bone, it's so effective but so subtle, and this side is so blurred and so balanced, and this side is so harsh and so uneven. I don't tend to use highlighter, but this House Labs Fire Opal is perfect for this example. So by layering the bronzer, the blush, and the highlighter all in one area, it just takes away the premise of each product. So for lashes, applying from root to tip tends to weigh mine down, and then applying bottom lash mascara tends to pull my face down even more. So instead, I love using a lash separating curler, and then going in with the brown lash primer, and what this does is it gives my lashes that natural length without them looking so clumpy. And then after this, I go ahead and tightline my upper lash line with a brown liner. And then I'll even carve out my inner corner. Now comparing the two eyes, this eye looks so much more naturally enhanced, and this one looks very much so makeup enhanced. Instead of starting your lip liner at your cupid's bow and then pulling to the corner of your mouth, try using a liner that's really similar to your natural lip color and rounding out your cupid's bow, and then pulling this line from the corner of your mouth to your cupid's bow, on the bottom. And then typically I'll add a matching matte lipstick, but today I'm going with a gloss. The difference between the two is insane. On this side, you can see how seamlessly full they look, whereas this side, you can see how overlined they look. And that's why influencer style makeup doesn't really work for day-to-day life.
I have a few things to say. First of all, I hope that trademarking of, putting whatever here is a joke, because people have doing that probably since me and this individual were born. So no need. Okay, I have a few things to say, and it might come across bitchy, but I don't mean it to, because I'm doing it from a professional point of view as a professional makeup artist, right? I think we're all aware by now that influencer makeup, online makeup, is completely different to real life makeup, right? A lot of people anyway. I have been to enough influencer events in daytime, in nighttime, to see people who are well known on different social media platforms and seeing their makeup in real life. And from a professional point of view, it doesn't look good. I don't want to come across, I'm trying, from an educational point of view, it doesn't translate, I should say, from online, from TikTok, let's say, to real life. Yeah. The trend of doing makeup, and not even a trend, people don't realize they're doing it, is being very heavy-handed for stuff to show up on camera or stuff to look right in the correct lighting. But what they don't consider is other lightings and the way their makeup looks in different light. And it's very much the same. It's a stripe of blush, it's a stripe of it. It's not done well. But, however, we do have to acknowledge that people like to do their makeup differently to other people. There are different styles and different ways to do your makeup, and sometimes people want heavy makeup, and there's no shame in heavy makeup when it's done properly. Yeah, the concealer. So using something light versus something with a warmer, peachier tone is absolutely correct. It's the best way to neutralize the under eye tone. So it's nicer to go with a deeper tone. However, I do try and at least level it out so it looks like it kind of blends into this face a little bit more, even though you are going to go on with it with a foundation. Some people do just like their under eyes to be light, a little bit brighter, but the best way to do that is to use a concealer that's 1 or 2 shades deeper than your skin tone, and then touch the highlight in these areas here, and then blend it in naturally, not the whole way across, just in those areas. And then you get a lighter under eye without it looking ashy or grey or cakey.
What if I told you that this model, and this model are all wearing makeup? It's called Natural Men Makeup, and we're recreating it today. Key for a natural makeup is the base of your skin. Grab a knot of your most hydrating cream. I'm using this Valmont one. Apply it all over the face. This gives us that initial glow and moisture for the makeup to sit on. Grab your best eye cream. Teeny tiny knot, gently apply it under the eyes. It helps brighten up the eyes. The key for a natural men makeup is using a tinted moisturizer and not foundation. Using this U Beauty one. I have 2 different shades, but I think shade 3 is my shade right now. But it's always a good idea to have multiple shades on hand. As you can see, it's much more liquid than foundation, and so it absorbs into the skin much easier. Distributed across the face, the redness is already so much less visible. Always a good idea to apply some under the eyes as a concealer. Say concealer to cover some of the blemishes. Helps a lot with the redness. For eyebrows, grab a little knot of your favorite moisturizer. Mix, and into the eyebrows it goes. Using the Maybelline Express Brow in shade Deep Brown. Lower line first, then top line, and the sides. Rub the product up, and with the moisturizer, it just basically glides onto the skin. Rub the product away. You could use Q-tips, but with the moisturizer, it really just glides on the skin. If you didn't know I had anything, you would not know. We do look a little bit pale, so I'm adding a little bit of Say blush. Mix, mix, mix. Aqua 4 for the lips because it's literally the best and rehydrates everything. Be very honest with yourself. Would you ever notice or know? Let me know what you think, besties.
I think that's a good effort. When you see any man on TV, right? It doesn't matter what they're doing, whether they're like a sports person coming to do an interview, whether they're a model on TV, or whether it's magazine, they are wearing makeup, even if it's just powder to mattify their face, because you can't go on TV shiny in front of all those lights and have all the lights reflecting off your skin. Natural men's makeup, there's two things, right? Let's talk about editorial. Natural men's makeup in editorial isn't actually as it's more like grooming. So it's like a bit of powder. Usually it's like a foundation powder, right? Maybe a little, like some lip balm, a tinted lip balm, brow gel with a few strokes, maybe at the end of the brows with some brow hair, maybe a tiny bit of mascara or clear mascara, a bit of bronzer through the eyes. It's not that complicated at all. In real life, okay, let's start with this. Great skin prep, great everything. When it comes to tinted moisturizers for male grooming in real life, say sometimes you do weddings and the groom wants like their skin sorted out, because who doesn't want to look good on their big day? Tinted moisturizers isn't the way I would go. The coverage of a tinted moisturizer, yes, but a tinted moisturizer, here's the thing, right, with male makeup is it's meant to be undetectable versus female makeup, right? So tinted moisturizers, one, are very shiny on the skin, but also they require a lot more upkeep than your regular foundation. It's like using skincare and foundation. So I would go ahead and use a lightweight foundation and use it sparingly, and use a brush that's like a stipple brush like this. And you can literally stipple in the areas that have redness without it looking like makeup. Okay, let's talk about those eyebrows. Terrible idea. Really, really bad idea. Two reasons why is you don't want heavy moisturizer under an eyebrow, especially because it will start to eat away at the brow pencil. Brow pencils and brow products aren't made to be on a heavily moisturized part of the face. If you put brow pencil on your nose, right, just for as an example, or on your forehead, the moisture levels, the oil will eat away at it, and you get that feathery like brow. Have you ever drawn in the curve of your brow here and it started to feather away? It's too much moisture getting involved in it. So that line and rubbing it into moisturizer, really, really bad idea. And it just, I don't mean to be horrible, but if the shape isn't right and it doesn't look good. But the best option for men's makeup is either a clear brow gel or a tinted brow gel. Brush up through the brows, backwards up again, so you get a bit of structure in the brow without having to use product, and then use your pencil. Never do you draw, even on any gender's makeup, unless they want thick, heavy brows, never do you draw with a brow pencil a sharp line going across the brow, even if you're blending it out, because you will see that line, especially in photography, under lights, you're going to see those lines. You take your pencil and do fine strokes through the brows where it needs it to even out the shape. But that eyebrow technique is possibly the worst idea. In terms of longevity of a product, it was all smudged down here and was smudging it out with our fingers after we've done our tinted moisturizer, which is probably now non-existent in those areas. He tapped in here for some reason with it. It was a mess. The rest, fine, but the brows, absolutely not for anyone, no matter who you are.
Don't be this person.
Yeah, don't be that person. This is awful. I mention this a lot. Samples. Using samples from the stores is not a good idea on your eyes, your face. Even on the back of your hand is a little bit of a risk. There are serious consequences to picking up a mascara wand that many, many people have probably touched, rubbed on their hand, used on their eyes, used in their brows. I've seen some people do some weird shit with samples and testers. honestly. And when you're putting that directly on your eye, walking into a shop and doing your full face of makeup with their testers is not a big flex. It's stupid. It's not a look what I did. It's a like, you're ridiculous. You shouldn't have done that. There's bacteria on them. You don't know how long that sample has been there. Somebody, who was it who did it? You can Google it. Did a like swab test on samples in stores, right, that people are using directly on their face. And this is why you should sanitize them if you're going to use them with pure alcohol. They found human blood on the samples. They even found semen. Yes, please do not just pick things up and use them, especially just to go viral on TikTok. It can scar you. It can scar your skin for life. It can give you eye infections. It can really damage your health. So ridiculous. I hate it. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me. If there's anything that you see online that you think is ridiculous, stupid, go ahead and tag me on my socials. Consider subscribing, give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you very, very soon. Bye.